Go ahead and put our slide up and we'll go ahead and get started.
Bet. Oh my goodness. Everyone's having issues tonight. Your device is ready to check out. How about now? Are we good?
Yes.
All right, we're good. Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and start. And I want to welcome you this evening to our Let's Talk About Title I chat session. The purpose of our meeting this evening is to provide you with a brief overview of Title I, outline your role as a parent of a child in a Title I school, and gather your input relative to Title I funding and how you think it could best be spent to improve student achievement and the involvement of parents in their children's education. Before we start, I would like to introduce the District Title I team who oversees the program. I'm Dr. Carol Mella, and I am the Title I Director. Next, we have, well, we don't have, he's having difficulty getting in, but we do have, as part of our team, a Mr. Dan Keene, and he is the Title I Coordinator, and his main job includes overseeing the Title I budget for the district. Next, we have Mrs. Javon Blum. Go ahead and wave. There we go. She is our Parent and Family Engagement Resource Teacher, and her main responsibilities include working with schools to improve their parent and family engagement and overseeing the requirements that the federal government has established in spending Title I dollars for this purpose. Then we have Mrs. Candy Polhill. Candy. She oversees our private schools, and she takes care of our Title I portion for our students in transition as well. And finally, we have Miss Jody Hall. She oversees our Title I staffing plans, employment documentation, and the documentation of federal compliance associated with using Title I funds. During our time together and throughout this presentation, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions, or you can put the questions in the chat box. And since there's just a few of us, I'm sure we should be able to keep up with this. And one of us will answer your questions. So real quickly, Jamie's mom, if I'm saying those right, where do your children go to school? If you want to unmute, or do you want to type it in the chat box, and we'll see what schools we have represented here.
Columbia Elementary.
Great, Columbia Elementary. All right. And maybe, where do your children go to school, or your child? Odyssey, very good. So we got charter school representation. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for coming this evening. We really appreciate it.
All right, we're going to show a video real quick just to show how much we appreciate all that our parents do at home behind the scenes.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Again, we love all of those little things that you do at home with your children. They do make a difference, and we thank you for that.
And those are the times that the children will remember for sure.
Oh, sorry.
All right. There's some black thing covering up my words.
I
and
know.
everything.
I'm trying to, yep.
I'll just go ahead, but you just
Just go ahead.
We're just having not a good evening this morning with technology, or this afternoon with technology. All right. Title I, what is it? It's a federal grant that is managed and distributed by the state to local educational agencies or school districts. The purpose of the funds is twofold. First, to provide financial assistance to schools with high percentages of children from low-income families to help ensure that all children can successfully meet the challenging state academic standards. And secondly, the purpose of Title I is so that the funds can assist with building the capacity of parents and teachers and encouraging parents to become involved in their children's education. Next slide, please. In order to determine which schools within the district, including charter and alternative locations, receive Title I funds, the district uses what they call Survey 3 data taken during FTE, or what's called full-time equivalency week, in early February to determine the number of qualifying students at each site. Currently, if an elementary school has 63% qualifying students, the school qualifies for Title I. And if a secondary school has 74% of qualifying students, then they qualify as a Title I school. For the 2022-2023 school year, we will have 30 elementary schools, 2 secondary schools, 3 alternative sites, and 6 charter schools. The federal government has established guidelines as to what are allowable purchases for schools using their Title I funds. Title I funds are supplemental and must be spent above and beyond district-provided funds. There are 3 main areas that Title I funds can be used to support. The first, they can be used to purchase anything that supports student achievement. Second, Title I funds can be used for professional development to train teachers and to improve their teaching skills. And finally, third, schools are required to use at least 10% of their allocation to teach parents and caregivers how to academically support their children at home or assist parents with other needs that may influence their children's academic success, such as bullying or other behaviors. Next slide, please. This chart shows how our schools spent their school-based allocations for the 21-22 school year, which totaled $12,058,655. $203,350 of that allocation was spent educating parents on how to support learning at home. You can see 35% of the funds were spent on Title I teacher salaries. These are teachers who work with small groups of students to support achievement. 16% was spent on literacy, math, and science coaches. 11% was spent on instructional aids to support small group instruction. 21% was spent on classroom materials and supplies, again, above and beyond what the district provides. So the majority of Title I funds are used to hire additional personnel to work with those students needing additional support. So we'll just give you a couple seconds to look over the rest of the slide. Everything else besides personnel and classroom supplies was really small percentages. This is FSA data from our 2 most recent test administration periods in 2019 and 2021 for our Title I elementary schools as compared to our non-Title I elementary schools in the area of what we call ELA, which is English Language Arts. Of course, we will have FSA data for this school year once the results are turned back to us. The peach boxes show the percentage of students who were proficient or on grade level in grades 3 through 6 in 2019 as compared to 2021. So you can see for our Title I elementary schools in 2019, 52.21% of our students in grades 3 through 6 were proficient in English Language Arts. After the pandemic in 2021, that percentage for our Title I schools went down to 47.97%. which was a drop of 4.24% as a result of the pandemic. In our non-Title I schools, our English Language Arts in 2019, the proficiency rate for grades 3 through 6 was 76%. So you can see quite a lot higher in our non-Title I schools. And that dropped only a little bit in 2021 to 75.08%. A difference of 0.82%. So again, there was a bigger drop in our Title I schools than our non-Title I schools. The blue boxes show the percentage of grade 4 through 6 students who made a learning growth over their latest FSA score. And the violet boxes show the percent of grades 4 through 6 lowest 25% performing students who made a learning growth over their latest FSA scores. In all data areas, you can see that the Title I schools decreased a lot more than the non-Title I schools, widening the achievement gap. The pandemic had a huge negative impact on the performance of our students in our Title I schools. Before the pandemic, our gap was closing every year. And then the pandemic happened and our Title I schools really got hit hard with the pandemic, and our students' learning really suffered. So now our job is to close that gap up again. Next slide, please. This is the FSA data from our two most recent test administration periods in 2019, 2021 for our Title I elementary schools as compared to our non-Title I elementary schools in the area of math. Of course, we will have FSA data from this school year once it is returned to us. The peach boxes once again show the percentage of students who were proficient or on grade level in grades 3 through 6 in 2019 as compared to 2021. And you can see, and this was district-wide and this was statewide as well, there was a bigger gap as a result of the pandemic in math. It had a greater negative impact on math than it did in ELA. The blue boxes show the percentage of grade 4 through 6 students who made a learning growth over their latest FSA score. And the violet boxes show the percentage of grade 4 through 6 lowest 25% performing students who made a learning growth over their latest FSA score. In all data areas, you can see that the Title I schools decreased a lot more than the non-Title I schools, again, widening that achievement gap. The pandemic had a huge negative impact on the performance of our students in our Title I schools. This is science data from our two most recent test administration periods in 2019, 2021 for our Title I schools as compared to our non-Title I schools at the elementary level. Of course, we will have science data from the school year once the results are returned. The peach boxes show the percentage of students who were proficient or on grade level in grade 5 in 2019 as compared to 2021. Although the proficiency rate dropped as a result of the pandemic, the achievement gap between the Title I and non-Title I schools has not widened as much as it did for ELA and math. Any questions over those test scores? Well, if you think of anything, please feel free to interrupt and unmute and just ask, or go ahead and type it in the chat box. I know it's a lot to digest, but the main thing I wanted to show you is, although we were doing pretty good at closing that gap, the pandemic really had a huge negative impact on our Title I school student performance. And now we've got a lot of work to do to catch those students back up and close that gap again. But we will do it. We're positive, and we've got some great teachers and administrators at our Title I schools, so we will close that gap. It might not happen in a year's time, but we will start working toward it for sure.
Okay, it looks like it's my turn. Good evening, everybody. I'm Candy Paulhill, and I oversee Title I services for students in transition and also for participating private schools. Next slide, please. So district Title I funds are used to provide tutoring services to qualifying students in transition. And students in transition are those whose families are doubled up due to economic hardship, living in hotels or motels or similar settings due to lack of alternative adequate accommodations, living in cars, or living in any setting that is not ordinarily used as a regular sleeping accommodation for human beings. District Title I funds are also used to provide backpacks filled with school supplies to students in transition. By law, districts are required to offer Title I services to nonprofit private schools that choose to participate in the Title I program. Brevard County uses Catapult Learning as a third-party provider to provide tutoring services in reading and math at participating private schools. In order to receive Title I services, a private school student must be zoned to attend a Title I public school. Title I funds are also used for professional development workshops for private school teachers who provide direct instruction to students who receive Title I services, and also for parent and family engagement activities for families of students who receive Title I services at participating private schools. Currently, we have 21 Brevard County private schools that participate in the program, and next year we're adding 7 more, which will bring us to a total of 28 private schools. And that's it for my part. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Are there any questions on these services before we move on? Okay, again, if you think of any, just unmute or type it in the chat. So now it's my turn, Javon Blum again, here to talk to you guys a little bit more about parent-family engagement when it comes to Title I funds and the type of data that we're looking to collect. So just like Dr. Mella said, you saw that pie graph of the $12 million that the district receives, and a part of that allocation has to be spent on parent-family engagement. So our schools are divided up depending on population, over $200,000 that are meant to support families. And when we mean support families, we mean providing academic events for you, the adult caregiver, to learn how to better support learning at home. So our schools have math nights and science nights, and you'll notice that they provide you with materials to take home. So games, flashcards, math manipulatives, maybe even have a science fair board night. Those materials are typically purchased with federal funds for family engagement. Your school might also have a parent resource room. So a room where you can go and check out extra games. If your teacher says that your child is struggling in a certain area, maybe there's a game there that you could use at home to work on that skill. Maybe there's a book or a magazine of something that you're interested in about parenting or raising children. The one thing we want you guys to remember, and even though we would love it, but we cannot use Title I funds to buy food or gift cards or prizes. So anytime you attend an event at a Title I school where items like that are given away, those are usually through purchased through business partner funds. So it wasn't Title I money that was spent on those. We only can buy the school stuff. So remember, your family engagement events are focused on academics. They're really for you. They're really about helping families learn how to support their children at home, but we throw the kids in there for fun. So it is meant to be fun, but really we're hiding the fact that we're teaching you, the parents, the adult caregivers, exactly what the kids are learning in their classroom. So every event that you attend, there should be a skill or a strategy that the teachers or the school is teaching you. So you have a better idea of what your children should be able to do throughout the year. And if you notice that they're not able to do it without a lot of help from you, then that's a perfect opportunity for you to reach out to your child's teacher and let them know what's going on, because they are there to support you. A huge part of these funds is your feedback. So at events, you'll notice that we always beg for an exit slip at the end or a feedback form. And those schools work so hard to think of thoughtful questions and then use that input that you provide to improve the program. So have different types of materials, maybe a topic for a future event, maybe changing the time that they hold that event. That feedback is important. We don't want to assume that we know what you need to help your child at home. We need you guys to let us know as well. And so remember, again, we'd love to buy gift cards and do crazy things like that, but we also don't do carnivals. So fun events like barbecues and school picnics and things like that, those are wonderful. And sometimes schools still put those on, but again, they're using other funds. So they've got business partners to support that event. All the learning ones are typically Title I focused. So thank you if you participated in the district parent survey that was back around spring break in March. We really do look at that data, and that data helps us and our schools improve what we offer to our families so we can better serve you. We don't want to assume that we know. So on this slide, I'm sorry if the words are being blocked out. This is a super important question for us because it asks us, how do you prefer to be communicated with? So do you like email or text messages? Do you like getting a paper newsletter in the folders? So that's very important question. So here you'll see the results from this year, and these are from our elementary Title I families, and email is still number one. But if you notice, text messaging is coming up second, and we anticipate texting and emailing to flip-flop in the years to come. So if that is how you prefer to be contacted, email or text message or a good old-fashioned phone call, let your child's teacher know. They want to reach out to you in the most convenient way possible. Here's another one where we ask, how often do you communicate with your child's teachers? So you see lots of families are doing it on a weekly and monthly and daily basis. Some are doing it, as needed, but sadly we still see a never. And we never want a family to feel like they cannot communicate with their child's teacher. And if there is a barrier to communication, you work the third shift, maybe English isn't your first language, letting your child's teacher know, whatever that reason might be, we have resources at the school that can help you be able to communicate with the school and or a teacher. So you just got to let us know. Here's another one. Hopefully you are familiar with Focus. So Focus is the online platform where you can check your child's grades and attendance. Now, if your children in primary, so like K through 2, it might not be used as much, but as your children go up from 3rd grade to middle school to high school, currently we use that program Focus, and we want to make sure that our families are aware of it. They're able to log on, and you can also communicate with your child's teacher through that program. So we still have a lot of families that have never logged on to Focus. So if that's the case for you, we just need you to reach out to the school so you can get that secret password, and then someone there would be more than willing to help you either download the app or figure out how to get into it from the web. But you do want to go in there. There is great information. So when your children come home and say they don't have homework, or they did great on a test, or you've forgotten your child's teacher's email address, you can use this portal to access a lot of information. So speaking of events at schools, we know that life happens, and we're so appreciative that you took the time out of your life tonight to come and sit through this presentation. And we know we have the best intentions of attending every school event at our child's school, but sometimes life happens. So we want to know what those barriers are. So sometimes the most often reason why families aren't able to participate is their work schedule, and we get it. If that's the case and it's something it's information you really want to know, you really think it would benefit your child, just reach out to your child's teacher or to someone at the school and let them know that you wish you could be there, but you would love to still be able to receive that information. And again, someone will make the time to sit down with you or talk to you over the phone and show you what you missed and show you how to use those materials. Because again, the money and the intent of those events is to teach you, the adults, how to help your child at home. So then some of the other reasons why some families don't participate are that the meetings are not at convenient times, or they didn't get enough information about the events. So if that is the case, especially if meeting times are inconvenient, let the school know. The more people that are able to say that this time is too early or too late, the better they're able to go back and maybe experiment with some start times for some events. So again, if there is a barrier that prevents you from coming, it doesn't matter. We still want you to reach out to the school, and the school will help make sure that you get that information that you need. Now, we told you a couple times how important your voice is, how important your feedback is. You have a voice in how your school's Title I program is designed. We can only spend money in those 3 areas: the student achievement materials, professional development, parent-family engagement. But if you see a need for your school or your child, you need to let the school know. So we asked this question: how could we assist you to get you to have more of a voice in your child's school? And overwhelmingly, families want to know more information about what's going to be talked about at that meeting. I bet initially when you see those invitations, you think, what could I possibly add to that meeting? I don't understand how that all works, but you do, because the focus is your child. The focus is making sure that everything the school is doing, all the services that they provide and the funds that they spent are intended to support your child being academically successful. So if that's what you need, if you'd like a little heads up as to what they're going to talk about so you feel more comfortable, then let them know that. That's something very easy. Maybe they can send information at home ahead of time. Maybe there's a little video that you can watch. And again, if you look down, convenient meeting times, again, we understand that. But now that we have mastered almost Zoom, we can still offer some type of virtual interaction when appropriate. I love this one too. So we asked, okay, if you would like to have more feedback in your child's school, what are you most comfortable? What platform are you most comfortable using? And lots of families said that they like taking online surveys, kind of like the parent survey. So maybe that's how you start. Maybe you participate in the surveys. Maybe you also add comments, because in our opinion, when a family takes the time to not only answer the question, but give us extra feedback, another layer of information in the comment box, that's where we grow. That's where we truly know the needs of our families. So maybe you start out taking a survey, then maybe you feel comfortable following up on that survey and calling the school or your child's teacher and giving them a little bit of more information. And then we know that, again, life gets in the way sometimes. So sometimes attending the meetings in person instead of virtual would be more appropriate for you. And again, schools are willing to accommodate that if you let them know. So if you learn nothing else tonight, remember that your voice matters, and it is important. That, believe it or not, you are the expert regarding your child, and you know how they learn best. And we as a school, as a teacher, as a program, we want to know that information because it only benefits your child. And most certainly we want to partner with you. This is not an us versus you. This is a we. We work together to meet your child's needs. Before we move on, any questions? I know I went really fast, but any questions or comments on some of that survey data or some of that information we're looking to learn more from our families about? Since I can't see the chat, you can unmute or you can type it in and someone else will let me know. All right, again, we're almost done. So if you can think of something, we'll have some time at the end for questions. So before we wrap it up, I want to show you another video. So we started the video on a high note saying that we appreciate all that you do behind the scenes. And we're going to end it on this one, showing you that your children also appreciate what you do for them.
I love seeing the world in their eyes. But when I can't spend time with them, I do feel like I let them down sometimes.
I didn't know how hard work it was until I actually had to do it on my own.
I failed, I think, on a daily basis to live up to my own expectations. I question whether I'm doing a good job every day.
The boundary's too loose, what is right, what is wrong, and you get inundated with all of this information about how to do it and what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong that you start to second guess yourself.
I wonder what he's thinking all the time or what he's feeling, because he doesn't really communicate all his feelings and emotions.
My dad passed away almost 2 years ago from cancer. Parents are the most important thing. I don't know how she thinks she's doing as a mother, but sometimes, you just don't really know the right words to say.
Dear Mom,
I often often forget to tell you how much you mean to me.
You always taught me to stay positive, even when it feels like the world has fallen down around me.
I never really told you how much you mean to me.
And that's because there aren't words powerful enough to describe how much you mean to me. I admire your strength and courage. I love you so much. Love, Claire.
Dear Dad, the advice you gave me is to go to college, graduate, and be an honest person.
And I follow these principles and I will be well off. Okay. Great kid.
Dear Mom, thank you for being such an amazing mom.
When I grow up, I will always remember watching the sunset with you in Hawaii. And all the times you help me feel better when I'm having a bad day. Sorry.
But you always tell me to keep trying and that I can do it.
One of the hardest times was when my friends left me.
I felt useless and unwanted. But even at that time, you supported me. I couldn't have a better mom. Love, Zoe.
This means a lot to me.
Makes me feel like I've done a really good job. So maybe I think I'm only doing a 7, but if you get a kid to write a letter like this, it's got to be closer to 10. Oh, honey.
Brought tears to your old dad's eyes.
I just love that video. I've seen it probably 800 times, and every single time I see it, it makes me a little emotional. So again, we thank you. Your children thank you, even though they don't say it very often, but what you do matters.
The input we receive from our families is so important. We truly use it to build and improve our Title I program. Families provide valuable insight into how their children learn best. Remember, your opinion does matter. Your voice in your child's education is needed. This is a team effort, so we are going to momentarily stop the presentation now. And at this point, we want to gather some input from you, whether it be verbally by unmuting your mic or just typing in the chat box. Anything you'd like to see us do to make our Title I schools better and to meet the needs of your children academically, we'd like to hear from you, because we are all about input from parents, because sometimes you look at it from a totally different perspective, and we all need to look at it together and come together to create good solutions, especially to this widening of the gap that we see happening. So I also want to introduce Dan, who made it into our room finally, who takes care of the money side of Title I. So I think he was in several different rooms and nobody was in there with him, so he finally made it to ours. So welcome, Dan. So any input you would like to provide? And if it's not something new or something you can think of, something that they're already doing that you think is really being impactful to you as a parent of a child that you want to continue to see happening in our schools.
We've also recorded this presentation, so if you had friends that were unable to attend tonight, because again, life happens, we will communicate with the schools the link if you'd like to share it and let them know the information that you heard, and also if there's other feedback that you'd like to give us later on after you've had a chance to digest. Well, we thank you for giving us your time tonight. We really appreciate you taking that time out to learn more about the Title I program and how it supports you and your child. And again, we really mean it. If you do think of something later on that you'd like to let us know about, please feel free to reach out to us. I'm going to put Dr. Mella's email address in the comments, and feel free
Put it
to
in there for you. Oh, there you go.
So feel free to send Dr. Mella an email. And then if it's something that relates to students in transition or budget or family engagement, she'll route it to the appropriate person on tonight's call. So.
And part of our team, this is our Title I team, leadership team, but we also hire a couple math instructional coaches and a couple reading or ELA instructional coaches that we send out to the schools, along with district level coaches to support some of our teachers and within the schools themselves. So this is our leadership team, part of our Title I, but we do have other Title I people that we employ to put up out in the schools to support the schools.